other people moving from regional and remote areas, and you wanted to go and live in Sydney, I would say, yeah, think about again the priorities you have, because if you really want to focus on getting like a good place, it might cost you a lot of money, but also will that good place open you up to more opportunities down the line? So you have to think about a lot of different factors and make sure that you think about stuff before you move in, right? So don't just go into it blind. Have some consideration and thought to every decision that you'll make. So, yeah. But yeah, acknowledge that it will be difficult at the beginning because you won't necessarily meet your family that often anymore because simply of just the distance, right? Best thing you can do is probably FaceTime and call them. And having no support network earlier on was definitely a struggle, right? So making sure that you actively go out there and get yourself involved within the community. So make that change early on.
I balance 2 part-time jobs, so essentially if you combine them, that's a full-time job. I balance a lot of extracurricular activities. I do some volunteering and I guess family time. I do like to spend a lot of time with my family and my friends and my social life, and there's just a lot to balance when you're at university, especially if you're enrolled in full-time study. It's definitely impacted my participation in outside activities as well as my academics. I guess one tip that kind of worked for me is never saying no to the plans that I can go to. So if I am on campus that day, I will be going to that event. If I'm on campus, for a 2 or 3 hour class and there's an event after my class, so it starts at 5, I have no excuse to say no to going to that event. I've kind of made it my purpose to always say yes to plans that I can actually go to. And yeah, I think that kind of really worked in the sense that it helped me participate in the university life while also balancing all my other responsibilities. I guess another tip would be to be well organized. Have a diary if you don't already have one. Don't overbook yourself. Have a journal. Always kind of be like, okay, so on Tuesdays, say for example, you have university on Tuesdays and Fridays, block those days out as university days, and all the other days are things where you can fit things like part-time working, social life, events, family events, stuff like that. You can fit it into your unblocked time.
Everyone. Oh, is that working? Sorry. Hi everyone, welcome to UNSW. My name's Jules and it is lovely to meet everyone. I'm currently a 3rd year student studying criminology and criminal justice, and when I finish this degree this year I'm going to do psychology afterwards. And a little fun fact about myself, I just published my 2nd book, so if anyone loves reading, come talk to me afterwards. So today it is my great pleasure to host the Head Start at UNSW official welcome. I would like to give a warm welcome to all of our students, parents, caregivers and speakers who are here today, and extend that welcome to all of you who are joining us remotely. And I would like to show my respects and acknowledge the Bidjigal, Gadigal and Ngunnawal people who are the traditional custodians of the land of which UNSW campuses stand, and of elders past and present on which this event takes place. So today is a very, very exciting day because you are the first group of commencing students for 2024. Give a round of applause for everyone. And we thought this would be a great opportunity to meet you all in Clancy today, as you'll be joining us in this venue again next week for your official welcome events and to meet your faculty. So today is all about you, and we have speakers and current students who can't wait to meet you. I would also like to welcome those students who are joining us online and all the parents and caregivers who are with us either here in person or online as well. And please make sure you have marked your attendance on the QR code as well. So I'm just going to run through a little outline of what you should expect from today. So during this morning's welcome, you'll hear from keynote university speakers who are here to support you on your journey and ensure you thrive at university. Once you've met our experts, you'll be able to submit questions for our live Q&A panel through Slido. As a student, I know firsthand about how new and sometimes overwhelming your first year at uni can be. So I really encourage you to take advantage of all the services on offer at UNSW. Be sure to scan the QR code on the screen to start asking questions. And you can submit questions anonymously and also upvote other questions if you find them interesting as well. So after the welcome, students who are on campus will head outside for the official launch of Start at UNSW Peer Mentoring. And I'm also a mentor, so very exciting if some of you guys are in my group. So you'll meet your peer mentor for a walk around campus and to meet other students from your faculty. Peer mentors are senior students who have walked in your footsteps, so be sure to ask them a lot of questions. And those students who are joining virtually will be able to jump on Zoom for a Community Connect session with a peer mentor as well. For parents and caregivers who are here on campus and online, there will be a session for you afterwards with a student support advisor who will run you through tips, expectations, and advice on how to support students at university. That session will start at the end of this welcome event. And at 12:30, the students will have lunch on the village green with your peer mentoring group. The mentors will run you through some fun activities and you'll have a chance to check out some ARC stores. Parents and caregivers will have refreshments here in Clancy Foyer. Now, without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to our first speaker, the head of UNSW Student Life, Jessica LeQuinn.
Thanks, Julia. It's so lovely to see everybody here today, and for those who came in late, welcome. I would also like to echo Julia and extend my respects to the traditional custodians of the land where our campus stands and acknowledge elders past and present, as well as any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders who are present here today. My name is Jessica LeQuinn, and it's my great privilege to be the head of student life here at UNSW. It's my team's responsibility to ensure your transition and time at UNSW is smooth and you feel supported every step of the way. Starting university can be challenging, overwhelming, but also exciting. The purpose of today is to make you feel confident as you embark on your new journey as a UNSW student. There are many supports and services at UNSW who are here to help you thrive and help you when you experience difficulties. Today, you'll hear from them so you know where to go when you need support. Today is also about making your first connections. Connecting with like-minded students is one of the best parts of being at UNSW, and by the end of today, you'll have a support group with other new students before you've even started your studies. Our senior peer mentors will be on hand throughout the day to help build these connections for you, and you might even want to make some plans to meet up with each other during O Week. That's coming up next week. So be bold, be brave, and have fun, and welcome to UNSW.
Thank you, Jessica, for that warm welcome. I would now like to introduce Shelley Odoan from the UNSW Equitable Learning Services.
Hi. Are you all as nervous as I am standing up here, being in this big room? As Julia said, my name's Shelley. I'm from Equitable Learning Services here at UNSW. I'm pretty new to UNSW as well, and so I will empathise with you all when you get lost on campus, because I've done that about 10 times already. Our service is kind of like your sort of disability support service that you might have been familiar with at school. We work with students with a varying range of conditions, physical, mental health conditions, and temporary conditions. So even if you break your arm just before an exam, we're the service that you contact for some additional support. We are completely confidential, so we don't share the information that you share with us to other areas of the university, and we'll work with you to develop an individualised support plan to ensure that your time at UNSW is enjoyable, you feel safe and supported here, and you get the best out of your studies. We have a drop-in clinic every day in the nucleus for 2 hours, different times a day. Sometimes it's 11 till 1, sometimes it's 1 till 3. So if you have some basic questions that you'd like to ask and you're not sure if we're the right service for you, or if you don't know exactly how to go about making an appointment, the type of documentation you might need to submit to get access to support, come to the nucleus and speak to one of our equitable learning facilitators. We're a bunch of friendly little elves in our team, so please drop into the nuke and have a chat to us. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. I personally use ELS and it has been really helpful for me. So if anyone needs extra help, I highly recommend checking that out. So I would now like to introduce Annie T, who is an alumni student from the Connections program. So Connections is an exciting program supporting students from diverse backgrounds to gain professional skills and practical experience in the workplace alongside their studies. You're eligible to join the program from your second year and at your pace get involved in professional development workshops, an industry boot camp and company site visits, a leadership camp, and for some participants, a paid internship. Participants gain a network of supportive peers, build confidence and improve career pathways upon graduation. Please welcome Annie.
Okay, thank you, Julia. Hi everyone, my name's Annie. I am a Connections alumni. I joined Connections around 2022. A little bit about my background. I've just graduated. I finished my degree in computer engineering and biomedical engineering. And pretty much I grew up from Cabramatta, which is a gateway school, so most of you probably relate coming from a gateway school. There are some boundaries into getting into industry. So I think most of you are probably eligible to join Connections. So Connections does help build those professional connections in different industries, especially with boot camp where you meet different people from industry. I certainly gained a lot of insight, like going to companies like Deloitte, Atlassian, and EY. Those were the few that I can think of on the top of my head. But I definitely gained an internship from this program. It is for some people. It just really depends on if there are internships available. I got those internships from Helen, who supported me, and I was able to get an internship at Optus. And during February, I'm going to be starting at Optus. So it's a really exciting achievement for me. And also, during the industry boot camp, I was able to gain a lot of insight into like how to do interviews and also how to work on my I guess how to connect to people in industry, also help, and also different things about the things that you might get nervous about when you try to enter into like different companies, because sometimes the HR system can be quite challenging to get through when you don't have that experience. So it's really good. You get to meet students as well. So I gained a lot of friendships on that journey during the industrial boot camp, so I highly recommend it. Always say yes, because you never know where it gets you. So thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Also a reminder to scan the QR code if you have any questions soon. So keep submitting your questions, and I'm about to introduce our panel. So we have Shami Shetty from UNSW Employability, Tracy Ellis from Student Support, Miff Hudson from Academic Skills, Mitch McBurney from ARC, and Sarah Gaskin from The Nucleus. Please make them feel welcome. Sorry. Sorry. So I'll now call on each of our panellists to spend a couple of minutes introducing themselves and their team. So can we have Shami Shetty up first, please? Yep. Just stay sitting. Yep.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining all of us this morning in quite rainy weather, but that's all good. I'm Shamini. I'm part of the UNSW Employability team, and our team helps students develop professional skills and experiences while you're at university so that you can be prepared for the world of work and for the rest of your life. So some of the things that our team does, a big part of our work is coaching, so supporting you in exploring your career options, looking for work, part-time, full-time work, gaining internships. Annie mentioned things like interviews, preparing your resumes and the processes for being selected for internships or job roles. Our team will provide workshops, resources, and also through the coaching sessions, we do that for you. We work quite closely with the Connections team. Other aspects to our team are the Work Integrated Learning Program, so you can do internships or placements with companies both locally and internationally, and you work on actual projects with company representatives to solve problems or business issues with them and for them. Another part of our team is the student development team, and this is a team that provides workshops in terms of leadership. We have a mentoring program that you can participate in. We partner you with UNSW alumni and other industry professionals, so they support you through 5 weeks of mentoring, so that's a service that we offer to you. Just another thing to note is that all of our services are free to UNSW students, and once you graduate, we actually continue to support you with coaching for 2 years after you graduate. So that's just a quick snapshot of some of the things that we have on offer, and there's a lot more information on our website about these programs and services. So we look forward to seeing you. And just one other key thing, don't wait till you're in your final year or till you graduate. Come and talk to us now. We've got a great program for you, the Career Discovery Coaching Program, and I think if you start off with that, it's 2 hours of your time, so it's like 3 sessions and a total of 2 hours, and it prepares you for the rest of your time at UNSW and gets you ready. So look out for the Career Discovery Coaching Program. Thanks.
Thank you, Shamini. And next we have Tracy Ellis.
Hi everybody, can you hear me okay? Good. So I'm with the support team, I'm one of the advisors, and we are a fabulous team that are here to support all students in all sorts of situations, in being successful while you're here, and managing some of the challenges that might come along during the time that you're here, because life does happen and things can disrupt well-laid plans. You can come and talk to us very early on and have a study plan set up and ways of managing your time and juggling life and studies. Or you can come and talk to us if you have a specific issue or there's something impacting your life that's impacting your studies and you personally. So we're also there to support your welfare and well-being. It's a confidential service, so anytime you come in and have a chat with us, it's a safe place and it's a confidential space to talk about things that might be happening for you, and we help you get back on track, navigate some of what the UNSW procedures are to help you do that and get you to a place where you're feeling good again about what you're doing, you're back into your studies and successfully graduating. We look forward to meeting you at some point.
Thank you, Tracy. And next we have Miff Hudson.
Okay. Hi everyone. So my name's Miff Hudson and I'm from Academic Skills. There's probably about 8 of us in the team.
It sounds bad for us,
it
but
does?
it's great for them.
Does it? Okay, all right, cool. As long as you guys can hear me clearly. And so we're an academic team from a range of disciplines, from engineering, science, psychology, law, humanities, and we run a range of services. So one of the things that might be relevant to you guys is our individual consultations. So we have writing consultations and maths/engineering consultations. And so they're free services that you can book in online if you Google academic skills. And you guys would be entitled to 3 consultations per term. And it's not just for remedial students. Sometimes we have students who are actually doing quite well, but they realise that the demands of university are a bit different to high school, and they come to us to just brush up on their writing skills or brush up on their mathematics. We also have online workshops. The consultations also can be online or in person in the library, and we have drop-ins at the library as well. So we run online workshops on different academic skills and on a range of things like organisation, getting started, writing, using AI in a way that doesn't get you in trouble, and things like that. And we also run a range of other courses if you look at our website. We also have another peer mentoring program that is linked in with a few faculties. And they're run by older students who've done quite well. There's about 20 different subjects that run this peer mentoring program. But again, look at our website and that will give you a rundown of all the things that we offer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Miff. And next we have Mitch McBurney.
Hey everyone, my name is Mitch and I use they, them pronouns. I cycled to uni this morning, my feet are so wet. It's really affecting my ability to concentrate, but I will try. I work for you, I work for ARC. ARC doesn't stand for anything. ARC is the student organisation at UNSW. And I think it's really important to get to know us as your student organisation because we can be quite different to what your experience might have been in high school. Our job is to make student life outside the classroom, the best it can possibly be. And you guys have made a great decision to come to one of the best universities in the country, if not the world, with an absolutely outstanding academic experience. But to go alongside that, we want to make sure that your out-of-classroom campus life experience is also absolutely awesome. So we get to do clubs and societies, parties and events, sport, volunteering, we do work experience, we do student wellness, we're putting on movie nights, we're putting on Respect Week, I'm hosting a Love Island dating show on Valentine's Day. We do so many fun, weird, wacky and wonderful things to make sure every single day on campus is amazing. It's free to join ARC, everyone joins up. When you go and get your student ID, you can come visit us and get the sticker on the back of your student card. We'll give you a welcome pack and then you'll be good to go from there. But very warm welcome to UNSW and I can't wait to answer your questions.
Thank you, Mitch. And we have Sarah Gaskin.
Hello everybody, it's great to see so many of you here because it is really important to be aware of what is available for you. So I'm Sarah Gaskin from the Nucleus Student Hub, and Shelley did mention us earlier when she was speaking about ELS. We are basically your first point of call for you to come to, and if we can't provide you the advice, then we'll get you in contact with another team that will be able to help you. So if you have any questions, you need help, support, troubleshooting, come get in contact with us. You can either submit a form if you would prefer to send like an email. If you want to come in person, we've got some friendly people up with the concierge. We're located in the library. Or you can also call us as well, just keeping in mind that during our busy times, sometimes it takes us a bit of time to get to your call. So what we do at the Nucleus Student Hub is pretty much a lot. You'll be probably visiting us multiple times during your university. You're going to come here for enrolment support. You're going to come to us to get your ID card. Just make sure that you are booking in an appointment. Is really important because it gets super duper busy. Everyone wants to get their ID card because you're going to use it for your exams, you're going to use it to sign up to ARC, you're going to use it to access campus buildings for your classes, to attend events. It's going to be used quite a lot. You're also going to come to us for questions about your exams, case reviews, so things like special consideration, documents, any letters like letter confirming enrolment details. You're going to come to us for graduation questions, a whole range of things. So we are, in the library, so come on down, and I'm excited to answer your questions today.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, a very exciting time. We're going to ask the panel some of the questions that you guys have asked. So remember to scan the QR code and add more questions and upvote other questions if you have as well. I'm going to come. Okay, so the first question is, what do you think is the best approach to timetabling your classes in the first year? Tracy?
I'm happy to answer, unless you've got something you want to say, or we can both say something. I think what's really important is to know what the requirements of your degree are, making sure that your timetable matches to the courses that you need to be doing, and then looking at what else you have going on in your life. You might have some part-time work, you might have other commitments outside of uni, and just really choosing your classes wisely. Have a think about where you're most likely to not make class. Some students struggle to get to 9 a.m. lectures. You may not have a choice in that matter, but if you need to book yourself in for later classes, have a look at those options for yourselves that are going to be really workable and functional for you.
Thank you, Tracy. And next one, Sarah, I think. What was that? Thank you. How do I get my ID card set up?
Yes, a very important question. So you're first going to head to the Nucleus website, or you can search UNSW ID card into Google, and you'll find our student ID card website where you can book in. So it's very, very important that you make a booking. We have bookings every 5 minutes, so there's heaps out there, but you just do need to book in. It's going to ask you a couple of questions, and then it'll send you an email to confirm that you're booked in with your time. You can come 10 minutes before your booking or 10 minutes after your booking, but just make sure you're not coming any earlier than that. And what's really important to bring along to your appointment is your identity document. So some sort of document that has your photo and your full name and date of birth. Bring that along. We'll take your photo there. So we do have mirrors. You can get yourself pretty. I've seen the TikTok of like the passport photo. Go for it. Look your best self, because you don't want to lose this card. You're going to use it for everything. But yeah, just pretty much make a booking, bring your identity document, and we're there to make the rest easy for you.
I was just going to jump in and add one more thing, which is that the Nucleus does this amazing service of setting up your ID card. They can help you with enrolment if you need help getting into your classes, or any like IT help, like getting connected to the Wi-Fi. But we have another service which is available during O Week and Week 1. It's called Campus Compass. It's run by students, and basically they have this massive checklist of all the life admin tasks that you need to do to get ready for uni. So have you accessed your student ID, your student emails for the very first time? Do you know where to find your exams? Do you know where to find your assessment schedule? You can access all of that stuff online, but it's really nice to just bring your laptop, sit next to someone who's just done it the term before, and they will walk you through every single step of that process. And if you're having any trouble with anything that they can't necessarily help you with, they'll help you book in with Sarah's team to get into the Nucleus to get any extra help that you might need as well. So that's just outside the library in O Week and Week 1.
Thank you, Sarah and Mitch. Round of applause. So the next question, I'm not sure who can answer this, but what is the difference between tutorials and lectures?
You want me to answer that? Okay, so a lecture is basically, hopefully you're not in a room as big as this, but this is where you basically have the information that your lecturer wants you to know. The tutorials, often they come afterwards, and it's a smaller group where you actually get to discuss the issues, discuss the topics that were brought up in the lecture. So a lecture is kind of more basically what we're doing, but with less questioning. And a tutorial is where it's really focused on you guys, and you guys kind of making sense of what you've learnt in class. And it's they're essential. Tutorials and lectures are essential. Yeah.
Thank you, Miff. So the next one is, will Gateway students receive financial support for opportunities and resources? I'm not sure who can answer this one.
There's the same number of kind of scholarships and financial support for every UNSW student. So I guess the nature of the Gateway program is that we support students coming into university, we'll get you all settled in, but once you're within the university system, the same number of opportunities, scholarships and support is available to everyone. So there are lots of different ways that you can get support, whether that is a scholarship from an external party that'll help you with exchange, whether that's a loan to support you for your textbooks, or if you need help like navigating Centrelink for the first time, the university and ARC will help you all with that as well.
Thank you, Mitch. The next one is, does UNSW have a counselling service?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that one. We certainly do. We have 2 tiers of a counselling service. We have Mental Health Connect, and that's a service that you can pop a bit of information in an online form. Someone from the Mental Health Connect team will contact you, usually within 24 hours. They'll have a chat with you about some of the issues and health concerns you might be experiencing, and then from there they'll either refer you to our on-campus counselling service with psychology and wellness, or they might refer you to student support, or they might refer you to an external service depending on your needs. So you're very well supported in terms of mental health here at UNSW.
Perfect, thank you, Tracy. The next question is, would there be any tutoring services available for the first year students?
So, like I said, we offer campus-wide support for people across the board, those individual consultations. But there also there's a PASS program, which is tutoring, I guess, additional mentoring for specific subjects. So, for example, I've seen that they do mentoring in, say, chemistry or engineering, or some of the subjects that have been identified as a bit tricky and a bit difficult. Then I know that certain schools offer additional tutoring services. I know the School of Business offers additional services. So some of the tutoring services specific to your discipline, you'd need to look at the faculty. But again, the PASS program and academic skills, we offer assistance across the board. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is, where can we find the standards for essays, referencing and bibliographies?
Academic skills, the academic skills website. We have a toolkit, if you have a look at the toolkit. Now, when you go into your degree, different faculties require different ways of referencing, so you just need to ask what the standard is. So I know some use footnoting, some use APA, some use Harvard, but that's all on the academic skills toolkit website. Thanks.
Perfect, thank you. The next question is there parking at UNSW and is it free?
There is parking at UNSW. It isn't free for students. The best contact if you're interested in learning more about parking is estate management. So if you guys know where IGA is, they have an office just across from IGA, and you can pop in there and ask about parking. But unfortunately, it isn't free for students. But we have really good public transport. So we've got the light rail. You can chain up your bike. You can walk. There is other options, and there's parking off campus as well in the side streets.
Thank you. The next question is the career discovery program ongoing or at specific times?
So thanks for that question. Yes, the career discovery coaching program is held every term, throughout the term, so you can hop into the program at any stage and complete it according to your preference. We prefer you to complete it in the term that you start, and our first session starts in a week, so you're welcome to join us. And all those details, like I mentioned, is on our website. So you can join us at any time. And you can have the sessions during your term breaks as well, if you prefer.
Thank you. Next question is, what are the best societies to join?
Great question. There are 330 different clubs and societies at UNSW. It is a mind-blowing number of clubs, and you will never get to join all of them, I'm sorry to say. But we're the kind of like big student university. We have 60,000 students here that we call ourselves like a community of communities. There are so many different clubs that you can get involved in, but we're sort of a big, diverse community. We have a Chinese Students Association, we have a debating association, we even have a Chinese Students Debating Association. Like literally, if you can think of it, we have it. I guess a few hot tips that I have is the Unswifties, which is like UNSW IFT, the Taylor Swift Society. They're having an after party for the Eras Tour concert, which I think will be pretty fun. I also really like the Hot Girl Summer Society, and you don't have to be hot, you don't have to be girl, and you can join any year and any time of year for that as well. But like we have so many fun societies. There's a society called the Cat Appreciation Society, and they feed cats on campus. It's like so illegal, and they get in trouble all the time, but it's really funny. I always suggest to people, like, please start at uni by joining 3 clubs and actively get involved in them. The first club I think that's best to join is related to your studies. So say you're doing a commerce degree, you should be joining the business society. If you're doing a marketing major, join the marketing society. If you're doing a STEM subject, you might join Women in STEM or something like that. So something related to what you study. Then I think people should join a club related to something that they know that they love already. So if you love Taylor Swift, or if you love anime, or if you love films, or if you love running, or if you love dogs, or whatever that is, join a society that represents that like love or passion point, because you know that that will be your people when you get there. And then the last club that I want everyone to join is something that is just outside their comfort zone. Like university is this time in your life when suddenly you have just this little bit of extra freedom to try something completely new. So this might be your chance to join the Latin Dance Society. This might be your chance to join the Underwater Club. This might be your chance to join the Frozen Desserts Appreciation Society and eat ice cream on campus every week. When I was an undergrad, I joined the Malaysian Students Association, and I'm happy to admit I am not Malaysian at all, but they have the best free food. They do like these amazing barbecues where they cook like delicious laksa every week. So I highly recommend that you join one society related to what you study, one related to something that you're passionate about, and one that puts you just outside your comfort zone.
Thank you, Mitch. So the next question is, what happens if you're a little bit late through campus to your class?
I have it on good knowledge that all classes start 5 minutes past the hour and they will finish 5 minutes to the hour. So realistically, you have 10 minutes to walk anywhere on campus, and that should pretty much get you anywhere except maybe from the very bottom to the very top. So when you look at your timetable, make sure you do see not just where your class is, but where it is in relation to your previous class. In O Week, when you do a campus tour, you should have a copy of your timetable, or if you go to our Campus Compass program, they have a map and they will circle on the map where all of your classes are and show you the best way to walk to all of them. If you are a tiny little bit late and you're going to be late every week, it's really good etiquette to say to your tutor or lecturer, hey, I'm walking from the bottom of campus, I'm going to be late every week, but I'll come as fast as I can and I'll quietly enter class. They will not penalise you for that at all. If mobility is an issue, you can make a booking with campus security and they will drive you up and down campus, but that is for accessibility and mobility. That's not for everyone. We do have this saying at UNSW, which is that UNSW doesn't stand for the University of New South Wales. It stands for You Never Stop Walking. So be ready for that. Wear comfortable shoes and get ready to hit that 10,000 step mark very frequently.
Thank you.
And also, I will add on, really good point is quietly enter. Some people think, oh, I'm late and don't go in. Just take 3 breaths, don't feel anxious about it, walk in quietly and actually attend the class.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So next one is, how can I get my concession card for public transport?
So in the Campus Compass, you will all be attending. When you go to My UNSW, you'll see something known as My Student Profile. And pretty much in there, there's a section for Opal Concession Card. You just have to read through the information on the sheet, and then you have to accept that you're going to give permission to UNSW to share your details with Transport for New South Wales. And essentially, once that's been done, you wait about 2 business days, you go to the Transport for New South Wales concession card page, and then you apply through there for an Opal concession. Just make sure that you are meeting the eligibility criteria. It's set by the Australian government and not by UNSW. So all we do is just share your details with them to say that you are a currently enrolled student. So you just need to be full-time and on an internal basis, which means that you're studying in an in-person course rather than an online course. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty easy.
Thank you, Sarah. Next one is, what equipment do we need at UNSW?
I would say it's specific to what you are studying, so it's really important to have a look once you get access with your student ID and card. The Moodle sites, which is our online sites where all our programs are on, that should open up next week. Or before week 1 anyway, and have a look at what your lecturers said that you need. I can see some people are asking about lab coats and safety glasses. That's very specific to certain faculties, so just have a look at the Moodle sites and see. In terms of the laptop, iPad/iPad/pen/notebook, I know with the non-science subjects, honestly it really depends on the tutorial. What I recommend is that you have, even if you don't have a laptop or an iPad, that you at least have a phone with good connectivity, because there might be tutorial activities where your tutor wants you to log onto Moodle and follow what's going on in Moodle, and some kind of writing device as well. So I wouldn't say go out and buy a laptop or iPad straight away, but some kind of device with connectivity is important, and some kind of writing implement, whatever you guys use these days. Yeah.
Thank you. Is it necessary to buy textbooks, or can we just borrow the textbooks?
Can I give them a hack? Just a bit of a hack, because I know textbooks are really expensive. Again, once you've got your student ID and you can log on to the library website, when you have your reading list, have a look to see whether we've got an e-book copy of your textbook. Because you can borrow our ebooks for a certain amount of time, and that can circumvent, paying $200 for a textbook. You need to have access to a textbook, but I understand that there might be cost issues. So do look at the library and look to see how long you can borrow the ebooks for, whether there's other ways of getting that, but you do have to have access to it, whether you buy it or not.
Thank you. And how do we access UNSW facilities?
I can answer this question. Great question. I'm glad that you know that we have a state-of-the-art UNSW Fitness and Aquatic Centre on this campus, as well as the jewel in the crown for sport, which is the Village Green, which is on lower campus down near Anzac Parade. To join the gym is really cheap for students, but it's not free. It's definitely the cheapest gym membership you can probably get in Sydney is for you as a UNSW student to join the gym. But before you join, think about will you have time to actually go there? Is it open at a time that's suitable for you? I know it opens quite early, like 6 a.m. and closes at 9 or 10 p.m. as well. So it is very, very accessible, very, very cheap. There's badminton courts, there's group fitness, aquarobics in the pool if that's your style. So all of that is paid as part of your gym membership, which you can opt in to if you would like to join. But on campus, there's also sporting facilities which you can absolutely use for free. We have 3.5 basketball courts. So if you bring a ball, you can just use that as you like. There's like rules to play, so no one hogs it for too long, down on the courts there as well. If you want to borrow equipment, like a basketball or a soccer ball or a frisbee or a cricket bat or a netball or whatever you want to borrow, spike ball set seems to be really popular. Pickleball, does anyone play pickleball? I don't know. All of that stuff is available from this space called Village Green HQ, which is headquarters. It's just on the Village Green, which is our big kind of grassy area on campus. There's also a bouldering wall, so if you want to like rock climb, the Outdoor Society meets up there once a week to like climb on the rock climbing wall. And there's a calisthenics society that meets up on Wednesday afternoons and works out on the gym equipment that's there as well. So heaps of different ways to get active on campus. Some is paid, but lots and lots of it is free.
Thank you. Are there any ways that we can find descriptions of the content in our classes before starting?
Oh, did you want to? Okay, so once you've enrolled and you have access to your Moodle sites, and does anyone know what I'm talking about when I say Moodle? Okay, good, okay. So what you have is a subject outline or course guide, and basically in that subject outline, your lecturer will say what the course outcomes are, so what you'll be learning. There'll be a description of all the assessments, and there's usually a description of what you're doing weekly and the readings weekly as well. So I guess the best way to prepare is to make sure you're all over that course outline. And usually they're not so cruel to make you do things before week 1, but just double check. There are some people who are hardcore. But that's the main thing, to kind of familiarise yourself with the Moodle site, because different subjects set them up differently.
I'll just add on, don't worry if your course Moodle page is not live right now or immediately after you enroll. It's usually around O week that will become live. So if you're wanting to know what the course is like, you can head to the handbook page. It'll give a brief description. It's nowhere near as in-depth as the course outlines, but yeah, you can use that tool to just get a rough summary as to what the content might be, and then around O week your course will be live, sometimes earlier, but no later than day 1, week 1.
Thank you. Will I be able to drop a subject midterm and enrol in another course?
It depends what you mean by midterm. So we do have some key dates. There's a website that's really, really useful. It's known as the key dates page. It has things like the class registration drop date, enrolment deadline date, and census date. So just to give you a brief summary as to what they will be, you will have 2 parts to your enrolment. You'll enroll into a course, and then you'll register for a class. So you've got your program. Within your program, you've got all your courses, and then within your courses, you've got all your classes. I know that sometimes it varies between unis, but that's what UNSW use in terms of terminology. And yeah, when you go in and enroll for a course, if you haven't class registered by a certain date, you will get removed from that course. So just make sure that you're doing them both at the same time to make it super simple. Course enroll and then class register. And then they'll have a date in week 1, the end of week 1, where you'll need to have all your enrolment. It's the last day that you can add any enrolment, but it's not the last day that you can drop any enrolment. So the last day to drop any enrolment without financial penalty is the census date. So yeah, you'll be going on, that will be in March. And so if you do want to enroll into another course, it will need to be by Friday of week 1. So if you want to make any changes, we do have some exceptions to late enrolment, but you'll need to have some exceptional circumstances. So if it's just a change of mind, make sure it's by the end of week 1.
Thank you. How does HEX help work?
Sorry, I was still thinking about enrolment. HEX Help basically is for our CSP students, so Commonwealth Supported Place students, and it's set up by the Australian government, and it's a loan. So when you come and study at UNSW, we obviously charge you fees, and you can decide to defer those fees to a loan if you're eligible. So how it works is after the census date, our amazing student financials team work on making sure that all the fees are deferred to the loan so that you don't have to pay them up front and you don't get a block on your account or anything like that. So when you go in to accept your offer, then there'll be a section about whether you want to opt into and apply for HEX help if you're eligible and you have the CSP. There's also other things like fee help for postgraduate study, so if you go on to do that. But yeah, essentially how it works is you do have the option to pay fees if you would like. Any amount of your fees up until the census date you can pay, and then after the census date you won't have any ability to pay them until you pay it back through the HEX help loan.
Thank you. How long is the break between each trimester?
I think it's a month. So basically, you finish week 10, which is the last week of class, and then you have half a week, but let's say a week of study leave. So getting all your assignment, all your exam prep in, and then there's 2 weeks of exams, and then 1 week for people to mark your exams and get that back to you, and then it's O week. So it's 4 or 5 weeks between the end of term and the start of the next term, with the exception of the summer break, where you finish kind of like mid-December, early December, and then you're obviously on break until the first week of February. Is that right, Sarah? Yeah. Okay, great. Yes.
Spot on.
Thank you. What strategies do you recommend to keep up with the weekly reading lists?
So again, if you go to our Academic Skills website, we have a few reading strategies that you can look up. But some courses are very reading intensive. So if you're doing law, you might be reading, say, 100 pages per subject in your law degree. I guess there's a couple of things to be aware. Reading's going to be a bit difficult and a bit different at university, and it might take you longer, and that's normal. So plan that into your time, into your timetabling. But also think about ways you can hack your time. So if you're traveling by train and it takes you an hour, you know, that's good reading time. If you've got a break between classes, that's good reading time. So just think, in a way, I guess, working smarter, not harder, in terms of making time for yourself. And I don't know if some of the current students have other tips, but not current students? No? Okay, all right.
That's pretty good.
Okay, cool, all right.
Thank you. Do we get lockers or a place to put our items in?
If you really want a locker, you can come to ARC and we have lockers for you, but they are pretty limited, but absolutely.
Do you need to pick both a major and a minor, and what is the difference between them?
Okay, so this is a good question because I actually wanted to let you guys know about how when you come to the Nucleus Student Hub, we do have our student help assistants, and a lot of them are actually students as well, so they can relate to you and they'll provide general advice. But when it becomes specific to your program, we have program specialists, aptly named, and usually you will need to book in an appointment to speak with them. But back to the question, it really depends on your program. So it would be really important to look at the UNSW handbook. It's a great resource that has all the programs that UNSW offer and what we call units of credit. So every program will have a certain amount of units of credit that you need to complete in order to graduate. And then it goes through the program structure. So some of them will have, you need to have a major and a minor. Some will be an optional minor. I mean, most of the time the minor is optional. But yes, what we call it, all of these are specializations. So you'll hear that, you'll be like, what's your plan or your specialization, your major, your minor? You'll come across that a lot at university. There's a lot of different terms meaning a similar thing. But essentially check your handbook, see if it's a core, and then go from there. So the difference is that the major is usually more units of credit, and the minor is less units of credit. So you're doing more courses in your major and then less in your minor.
Thank you. Just adding on to that question, how many units per term is standard?
So 18 units of credit is the maximum limit that you can take, and the minimum is 6 units of credit. So the standard across the whole year is 48 units of credit. That's known as a full-time study load. So yeah, it's sort of up to you how you would like. If you are a bit nervous about starting uni and you just want to dip your toes in, you might just take 6 units of credit. And then, moving on from there, you might want to increase, or you might want to go straight in, go with 18 units of credit, and then that you've got something in third term, so you want to decrease that. But yeah, the general load is 48 units of credit across a year, so that's usually 2 subjects, and 3 subjects, however you want to distribute that throughout the year.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any kitchens for students on the campus?
Yes, there are lots of kitchens, microwaves, boiling water. There are no fridges for students on campus, so you will have to bring your own packed food. But there are microwaves and zip taps, which is those boiling water ones. Literally, there would be like 20 across all of campus that you're free to use whenever you like. I would say that they're really freaking hard to find. I'm constantly discovering them, but there is a map online. So if you just search microwaves, UNSW, there will be a list, and there'll be a map where you can actually navigate and find the one that's most convenient for you. And there's also a question here about prayer rooms, which is a great question to ask. We have a really, really vibrant interfaith community at UNSW that's both chaplaincy, which is like university-supported faith activities, and then also clubs and society. Lower campus, so it depends how much you like walking, and there are different scheduled times for different groups to meet or to use those rooms for quiet prayer activity as well.
Thank you. Do lectures get recorded?
Yes, lectures do get recorded, and so there was a question earlier. Essentially, if you do have a timetable clash, you might come across a permitted timetable clash, and the reason it's permitted is because it's expected for you to attend the class, whether that be a lab or a tutorial or a seminar, and then you can catch up on the lecture. Having said that, always consult your outline. So when you go at the beginning and you go to Moodle and you check your outline, because some lectures do take attendance, so it is really course specific. So it's important that you check at the beginning and don't just assume that it's recorded. And even if it is recorded, everyone learns differently, but I think there's value with you guys sitting here and seeing us here in person as opposed to maybe watching it later and being distracted. So always try and attend the lectures in person if you can, because you'll retain something even if you don't think you will.
Thank you. What is summer school? Who is it for, and who would you recommend attending?
So summer school is an optional term that UNSW offers. I recommend anyone that kind of wants to get ahead in their program, or maybe experienced a failure and would like to retake that course if they're able to, if it's offered. Summer school is very intense, so it's a lot shorter term, so not every course is offered in that term just because of the timeline, you can't fit enough content. So it is optional. The next one will be in 2025. You wouldn't be able to have enrolled in this one if you're a 2024 term 1 commencing student. But yeah, it's just an optional term. It's only 6 units of credit, so you generally just take one course, and it's just a way to get ahead or maybe catch up.
Thank you. What are some of the employment and internship opportunities at UNSW?
So we've got a range of opportunities for students. We've got our UNSW Connect, which is a jobs board, and we have internships and part-time opportunities listed there. These are usually off campus, but certain departments will employ students as well, as tutors, and it's usually when you're further on in your studies. But the library does employ students. Lots of departments employ student ambassadors, sort of departments and divisions on campus. Our team employs a group of about 20 student ambassadors a year. So you've just got to keep your eye out on the notice boards and also on the jobs board that I mentioned. So we've got, as I mentioned, internships full-time opportunities with organizations on and off campus, but a lot of those on our jobs board are off campus. The UNSW employment site, the UNSW career site may have some opportunities as well, but again, it may be for more experienced, so when you're further on in your studies, but you can keep an eye out there as well.
Thank you. What daily life facilities are on campus?
If you think about how big this university is, with 60,000 students and 5,000 staff, we are about the 5th biggest town in New South Wales. So everything that a town has, we also have, with maybe the limitation of we don't have a theme park or an ice skating rink. But absolutely, there is a doctor's here. We've already talked about counselling and psychology services. There's a dentist. You can get free optometry through the UNSW Optometry School. I go to my physio here. They're absolutely amazing. They helped me with my knee reconstruction. We have a museum on campus called the Museum of Human Disease. It's deeply terrifying, but definitely go there. There are heaps and heaps of things on campus. Yes, there is a supermarket. It's IGA. It's over near Gate 2. We also have Food Hub, which is a free grocery service. So we basically collect up food that is not out of date but will be soon, and we hand it out for free to UNSW students so you can get free groceries on campus. There are at least 2 places where you can get bubble tea, which I know is an essential part of any student diet. But yeah, if you can think of it, we probably have it on campus, and if we don't, it will be in the local area as well.
And we did have an ice rink for a few days last year.
And I'll just add that ARC offers a legal service too for students. They have a legal team down there, yeah.
Thank you. So if you've registered in an online subject, can you attend the in-person class as well?
You should attend the class that you registered for. So the answer is no. You should definitely sort out your enrolment, come visit us in the Nucleus Student Hub if you need help to get into the class that you intend to attend. It's also really important later when you go out and do the peer mentoring to ask heaps of questions, because you would like to finalise it now, being your first term, because once you're in that class, you can't really change it unless there's exceptional circumstances. So ask as many questions as possible with people that are already at university, find out what suits you. Of course, it's a bit of a learning curve where you won't really know until you've done about a year at uni what works best for you. But yeah, if you are registered for an online course, make sure you're attending that online class.
Thank you. How do you get to the Paddington campus, and when can you visit for O Week?
Paddington campus is like such a hack for UNSW. It is, as we've said, in Paddington. It's on Oxford Street. So if you're getting there from the CBD, you can just get any of the buses that go down Oxford Street towards Bondi, like the 333 is the bus that's always running consistently from basically the CBD all the way up Oxford Street. If you want to come from main campus to Paddington campus, you can catch the shuttle bus, and there's a timetable for that shuttle bus. It leaves from gate 8, which is over near the library, and it will drive you all the way to Paddington campus for free. The trouble with that is like it is on a loop, so the timing can be a little bit more limited, but I know lots of people that get that bus as well. If you want to come in and have a study day, Paddington campus is a great place to do it. It has a beautiful library, there's lots of Wi-Fi, lots of really nice cafes around. There's always cool events on. They do Free Toast Fridays, and it's not exclusive to if you're studying at Paddington. So you don't have to have a class there to go there. That is one of our campuses. Any student is welcome to head to that campus as well. Oh, and the other part of the question was, when can we go there for O Week? I would recommend that the best time to go and like check out Paddington campus, so if you have never been there, if you're thinking of doing a class there, if you do have a class there, they have this thing called Paddington Community Day on the Wednesday of week 1, sorry. So forget O Week, do O Week on main campus, and then in week 1, head over to Paddington campus on the Wednesday, and from 10 till 4, there'll be fun activities in their main quadrangle there as well.
Thank you. Sarah, I think this one's for you. How, with the student ID card, do they accept the digital version of your driver's license?
Yes, we do. So you can bring your digital version of your driver's license and we can use that to get your ID card. The only thing is if you need to make a change to your name, so if by any chance when you were making application and accepting your offer there was a discrepancy in your name, what's on our records and then what's on your ID, we will just have to have a physical document to change that. But apart from that, if it's just to get the ID card, you can bring in your phone. I use my phone all the time. I don't have a wallet anymore, so I don't know what I'll do if it's flat because that's my ID. So definitely bring it along.
Thank you. How does UNSW support students who have an exchange program abroad in their course?
You can apply for exchange at any time. People often say you should be applying at least 12 months out from the time that you want to do your exchange. And also you can go and just get information from the exchange office at any time that you want. In terms of support, there's heaps of support. So you can book some time with the exchange office people and they will run you through like step by step how to put your exchange application in. At the end of the day, you're over 18, this is university, you will have to apply yourself. No one's writing your application for you. You got to make that application as impressive as possible. You got to make it relevant. You get to put preferences in, and then you will be allocated where you go based on the relevance of your experience and the relevance of the courses over at your preference university. So you might be applying for 3 different universities in the UK, and you might get the 3rd preference. But you know, exchange is something that's really unique to university. It is tricky to navigate, but there are staff that are very, very excited to help you, and they're very experienced in doing that as well. So definitely check that out. Everyone should try and do exchange in their degree.
What is a good spot on campus to attend an online lecture?
UNSW has really increased all the different places that you can get connectivity, get a PowerPoint. So there are really heaps of places. My personal favourite is Morven Brown's new renovated study space, but obviously the library is probably the first thing that comes to students' minds. We have heaps of floors of places that you can sit and have quiet spaces. So that's probably the best spot. There's obviously the main campus library, and then down on lower, that's on upper campus, and then on lower campus there's the law library as well. So, but yeah, even outside of the buildings, there's heaps of spaces as well. So just use your map, walk around, take everything in the tours because the campus is really big and there's no one spot. Because if they're all there, then it won't be the best spot.
Thank you. Does anyone have any advice on how to decide a major if you're struggling to pick one?
So my advice is that you don't really have to choose your specialisation, your major, until the 2nd year. So my advice would be take first year as your learning experience. Take some courses kind of similar to what Mitch said about the societies. Take a course that you really enjoy. Take one maybe that's a bit out of your comfort zone because you won't really know until you give it a go and try. And join those societies where students have completed these programs before you or completed their first year before you and ask questions. I think you can join, actually no, I don't want to say that in case it's not right. Basically just give it a go, look at the handbook, see what's in each major, because it clearly tells you exactly what courses you need to take for each major. So if you kind of go in and have a look, rather than just seeing, oh, major name, that looks interesting, you won't really know until you see what's actually in it, and then you might see that there's a course that isn't really to your strengths or not something you're enjoying, so then you won't want to take that. But yeah, just use the first year as a learning experience and then decide in the 2nd year. Once you've gained some friendships, you've made some relationships with tutors and professors, I think that's the best way to go about it.
Thank you. How late is the uni library open, and any recommendations on any recommendations for good study spots late?
I think I'd have to look it up, but is it open till 10?
Yeah, it's around 10 or 11.
Yeah, and during the exam period, they sometimes go till 12. My recommendation is the library. If you haven't seen the library yet, it's awesome. I'm a bit biased, but there are different levels. So there's levels where you can talk and sit with your friends, and then there's levels where it's more silent work. So there's a lot there. I'm very biased. I don't know if there's any other suggestions for open late, but we've got security on campus, but there's security in the library too, if you're worried about safety.
I'm also going to add a little bit, sorry. In the law library as well, I'm pretty sure that they're open 24 hours a day. So I've seen people in there studying with their toothbrushes, so they go wash their face at night time, so they've slept there. So,
Get their skincare in.
Yeah. So if you do study a lot, the law library is a great place as well because they're opened up forever. Lovely. So do all food and drink vendors on the campus pay by cards and any student discounts?
Yes, all food and drink vendors on campus are card, but they're not card only. Lots take cash as well. And you can also get lots of free food on campus. The idea is once you join enough clubs and societies, you should be able to go to a free barbecue every single day. But in terms of student discounts, there are lots of discounts available at lots of different vendors for lots of different reasons. So for example, the Law Society gets discounted coffee at May's Coffee on Wednesdays. It's a one-off coffee special that they do. Or we have postgraduate cheap coffee at Homeground Cafe, which is down next to the Village Green. Realistically, all of the food vendors on campus know that you're students, so they know that the price is really important to you. So they're all really cheap and all really accessible and all really nutritious options for food.
Thank you. Is Term 3 busier with their workload, and should you do 2 subjects instead of 3 for that try?
I'm happy to answer that one. I think it's a personal choice. It's not necessarily busier study-wise, but towards the end of the year, your life might be busier. Coming into the Christmas, New Year break, might be more things going on for you personally. So that's something that you could make a judgment call on and perhaps only take 2 subjects in third term. It's also the end of the year. You've already studied a whole year. You might be a little bit more frazzled than when you first started. So they're the types of things to consider, but there are no rules, and in terms of study, it's no busier, there's no more demands on you than any other term.
I'll also just add to that, not every course is offered in every single term. So when you go in and check what courses you need to take, you will be expected to kind of decide when you want to take courses. It's actually really great in the flexibility and freedom that you get to decide, but not every course is taken every term, so that will also impact when you take maybe 2 courses as opposed to 3. You can't sometimes avoid it.
If you take an additional 6 units of study every year, will you graduate earlier?
Yes. Yes, so you can take 18, 18, 18. So you can do 18 in every single term. It's essentially the way you graduate is once you've completed the amount of units of credit that your program has. So once you've completed that, you won't be able to do any further unless you take what's known as non-award study. But yeah, once you've completed your units of credit, then you have finished, and then you'll be completed and graduated. So if you want to take 18, 18, 18, but obviously just keeping in mind that we do have our support services available. You don't want to be overloading yourself if it is too much work, but those that love studying and can't get enough of it, of course, go for it. Yeah, you can then complete earlier, and there's obviously advantages and disadvantages to that.
What happens if you have a clash with 2 classes?
If you have a clash of 2 classes, our first recommendation is to try and choose another class. So rearrange your timetable to select another class. But if it's a permitted class, you can go ahead and enroll. If it's a non-permitted class, it will come up in red, and you'll either have to submit a timetable clash request or you'll have to select another class, depending on the circumstances.
If I have a mandatory work integrated learning in my course, do I need to find my own work placement, or will UNSW provide it for me?
So that would depend on the faculty or the course that you're doing it with. The general world programs, we have work placements for you, or we have projects for you, and these can be in a range of topics and a range of faculties, but again, it would depend on the specifics of the course that you're doing, the program that you're doing the world course in. But you're welcome to sort of send us an email and we can address it, or even speak to someone in your faculty. There's a lot of world staff in faculty, but also if you speak to our central world team that sits within UNSW Employability, they'll be able to tell you a bit more about what's on offer for that term or upcoming terms as well.
Thank you. Will I lose my Gateway Advantage Award if I change my degrees? And do the instalments go straight to my student fees?
Yes, so when you, actually with this one, it's probably better to email our Gateway team. Tatiana heads that team up. But when you're given your offer, it is specific to that program. But if you do have any questions regarding that and you're worried about your scholarship and the Gateway Advantage Award, definitely get in contact with that team because they'll be able to advise specific to your program.
Can we access recordings if we miss a face-to-face class?
So sometimes lecturers will put their recordings up on the Moodle site, but just bear in mind that tutorials and labs and seminars are not generally recorded. So there's this, unless it's an online, even if it's an online class, they're generally not recorded. So that's something that you would need to talk to your lecturer specifically about. This might be a question that I direct to Shelley, but if you've got an equitable learning program, so if you've gone to equity and you may need to have access to the recordings, that might be part of your plan where your lecturer does have to give you access. So, yeah.
Perfect, thank you. What support is out there for people who identify as neurodiverse with and without a formal diagnosis?
There certainly is support for neurodiverse students, formal and informal. Equitable Learning Services would be the service for you if you have a formal diagnosis. You do need documentation to register for that service and receive any adjustments that you may be eligible for. Having said that though, I would refer back to the academic skills resources for informal supports for neurodiverse students or any student that is looking for that extra academic support and resources. Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't have a formal diagnosis yet, because I know it can take a year to see, for example, a psychiatrist, and it's quite expensive, I suggest that you do talk to Equitable Learning Services anyway and see what they can do for you. So don't let that be a barrier to you. So yeah, go and have a chat with them.
Also, our coaching services, we have a slightly longer 30-minute coaching sessions for students with any EDI. Students would like to use those services, you're welcome to do so.
And I'll add one more thing, which is that we have a Student Representative Council collective. So you will be all familiar with your student government or your elected representatives. That's like your SRC president. We have a general secretary. And then we have all these collectives which are dedicated to special interests. And we have like an Indigenous collective, a women's collective, an ethno-cultural collective, an international students collective. And on this particular subject matter, we have a Students with Disabilities collective. And that is a group of students that meets up informally, and they have a Facebook group and a WhatsApp chat. And they have all different lived experiences with disability, accessibility, and neurodiversity. And I think like this particular question is a really unique one to university because a lot of people are at different stages in terms of their diagnosis. They might have just realised that they're on the ADHD side of TikTok, which has happened to me, and it's very confronting, but it's also a great way to get advice from other students on how they navigated those pathways. Like what's going to be best for you and what options are available to you at different stages of your diagnosis or formal documentation.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. We've got time for one more question. Is it possible to enrol in a subject at another university for free electives and gain credit?
I believe this is called cross-institutional study, and it needs to be approved. So it's difficult. There are lots of approval mechanisms because obviously UNSW is way better than University of Sydney. Why would we care about any of their courses? But there are some courses that we don't run at UNSW that we're like really excited to do at other institutions. I had a friend that studied a minor in Italian language studies through UTS, and they got that as part of their international studies degree at UNSW. So if there is something that really excites you at another institution, and you can't study it here, but it is part of your broader learning experience, then absolutely you can apply for cross-institutional study, and I'm sure Sarah's team would be very happy to help any student that had that ambition.
Perfect. Just one more thing. Does anyone have any final advice for new students?
Shall I go first?
Yep.
Okay. University is an incredibly unique time of your life where you get a huge number of opportunities that you probably will never, ever, ever get again. And that is so, so exciting, and that is such a unique privilege that you now have access to. But you are now in charge of your own fate. You are in charge of your own destiny, and you have to do a lot of the work yourself. So you have to go to things. You have to ask for help. You have to introduce yourself to other people. If you don't do that, you will regret your time at university. So please, please, please put yourself out there. Take a risk. Get outside your comfort zone. Be proactive, because the onus is now on you to be in charge of your own destiny.
Any other advice from anyone else?
Did you?
I just want to say, yes, definitely, empower yourselves, take charge of your destiny, but there's always support available. So just reach out. There's always staff or people that are willing to help you or point you in the right direction. Even if we don't know or we don't have the answers, we'll find the support or move you along to where you should be. So yeah, it can be a bit lonely and scary, but there's lots of, not just staff, but also students, peer support as well. So just reach out for help.
Yeah, there's just adding on to that, there's so much support out there for you, and you are not going to be penalised for asking for support. It's not going to be used against you. A lot of these supports are confidential. So like Tracy was saying, if you go to her, if you go to Shelley, if you go to us, we're not going to relay that back to your lecturers and tutors. So it's not going to be used against you, and it's actually there to support you. And I suppose adding on to that, getting support earlier rather than later is really important, particularly if it is for equitable learning services or academic skills. We book out in week 8, 9 and 10, so it's really important to come and see us earlier, get on top of things, and it'll just make your university life a lot easier and a lot smoother if you seek help earlier rather than later.
Yeah, and just adding to that, sometimes it can be hard to identify when you need the help. I often say to students, rather than waiting till you're in full overwhelm and it's hard to ask for help, try and identify earlier signs where you're telling yourself, oh, this is hard, but I'll be okay, I'll just keep pushing through. When you start using language about pushing through, I'm not sure I can get this done, but you're still trying to do it on your own, that's a good point to ask for help where you still have the capacity to make good decisions with some help, with some added support. So try and identify those signs a little bit earlier, and certainly jump in and book an appointment.
I would just say university is so unique in the sense that you are never going to encounter a place that has so many different diverse people from all walks of life, and it's the opportunity to be inquisitive, ask the questions, get to know your professors, get to know your peers, get to know all the additional support that we've spoken about today, and really just soak it up as much as possible, because you're probably never going to experience as much diversity as on a university campus.
Perfect. That is all the time that we have today for the Q&A panel. Can we please give a massive applause?
Thank you, guys. So, if you're a student joining us online, please head over to Zoom for your virtual Community Connect at 11:30. You will have received the link via your reminder emails, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. And if you're a parent or a caregiver, please stay with us here, and we will commence the sessions shortly at 11:30. And if you're a student on campus, please head outside to meet your peer mentors for campus walks. And these are the colours that you have to